Okay, the third technique when you do entering and outputting information on the computer is to do something like you see in front of you right now. To not ask the person a question with little pop-up boxes or force it into the variables, but to do it in what we call a nice user interface. I just want to run it for a second just to show you what we're going to do in this last example. So here is this car company, and you go and your parents want to buy a car and you fill out the form, or they fill it out for you, and you choose the kind of car you want, and depending on which one you choose, the actual price goes here, so that's kind of cool. Sometimes when your parents buy a car, they've got an old one they want to get rid of and they might get some money for it, so let's pretend they get $500 for it. Also, you can get different styles of cars, so you might get the standard one, okay, and then the deluxe has air conditioning or leather seats or something like that. So you notice how the number's changing there. And now the salesman is ready to work out your final price. You press compute, it adds the base price to the package, and it takes away the trade-in, and you're left with that price. You got to pay sales tax, that always kills you, and then there's your final price. And then we got a new button to wipe it out. So how would you do a program like that? Well, first of all, on the test this week, you're going to create something like this. So you'll get at least half the marks if you just design it. Now obviously the other half is to make this thing work. So what you'll be given on the test is what these prices are, and when you press these buttons you're going to have to make them shoot over here. So these things in here, they're text boxes or labels. It can be one or the other. It's just that there's no border around them, so there's a spot for them to go. So let me just show you what's happening right here. So this is a text box, obviously. That's a text box, and I just click over here for a second. Whoa, there's a lot of stuff here. So when I press here, for instance, that's a label, okay, and there's quite a few other choices. These ones that have names on them, they're important. Label base, there it is right there. How come it's so small? Because I have a property called auto size on, so that as I type in a number, it'll grow or shrink to match the size of the amount that's going to go in there. Okay, now watch where I'm going to click for a second. I'm going to click on the form, not on any one of these things, but on the form. And there's a thing called form load, and this happens behind your back. So what you do when you write this computer program is, first of all, you put down every possible thing you're going to work out in this question. All your prices, all your formulas. Okay, now remember, look where it is. It's outside of any inside little squiggly thing. So it's sort of a public variable. That's really important. Next step, as I just showed you, is this form load, and what you do there is now you feed some prices in for the things that you're going to work out, and you initialize a couple of variables. Now the interesting stuff. As you double click this, you want actually two things to happen. Alright, first thing that's going to happen is you're going to know that you press the base star car, and you're going to take the price of that and make it fancy, that means with currency, and feed it into that label. So this thing is going to shoot into that little spot right there. Now you're going, sir, what's the second part for? That's a waste. No. This stuff right here with the pretty stuff, you can't mathematically add. Anything with the dollar sign, like it makes it currency, you can't add. So you do this again without the fancy currency, and you put it into the base price, right? Which is your variables at the very top. See how you have base star and then base price? And you do that for every one of these. So every one of these, you notice, every one of these has two steps, the pretty step and then the math step. Same with this. Okay, see that right there? And then same with this one. Okay, now after that you got to do some dirty work. That's the compute. That's where all your calculations are. So look what happens. After you've fed the computer in all those things and you know them, to work out the subtotal, as we call it, you would add those three numbers, and actually those two numbers, and take away the trade-in. Then you would work out the sales tax, and actually nowadays that's 13%, so you change that, and then you'd work out your total. You work out your total, and then you make it pretty. Don't make it pretty until you've done every bit of math. The last button is this new one, and this is how you put everything back to nothing, so to speak. This is how you put all the little radio buttons back to nothing. This is how you make all those little spots where you had answers and numbers and have them be nothing, and this is how you reset the totals. Okay, so that's a quick overview of what we covered on how to create a third kind of application with C#.